Hey James, how you doing? Let me know if you can hear me. Looking at making the W0AEZ BPY 14L battery. Great, thank you very much. So, thanks for stopping by to see what I'm up to today. I think I'm going to start out with a little bit. I'm also figuring out every once in a while I got to run this thing or else I'm going to forget how it all works. But I'm going to hunt a little POTA today. See who's out there. Turn up the volume. I hope my volume. I don't have a chat screen, so I'm just in the blind here. So looks like Mississippi 14040. If I don't exercise these streaming muscles, I forget how, and then it turns out terrible, like it did the night I was on Ham Radio Clubhouse. Let's see. Let's see, who did I get earlier? I got WN4, so I can't chase him. Long call sign. KJ4, Larry. Little stretch for my rig. $539. Let's see. I have no idea what he just sent. He's talking to somebody else. We're gonna call this one complete. Let's see. We'll try another one to get a see the Parks match. I sent him a 539. Let's just say he sent me a 459. I don't know. There we go. 14.040. There we go. Let's try another one. But you know what? We'll spot him. Guys, I can't see the chat. Let's see. There's one I got yesterday in Florida. Depends how propagation is today. 14.042. That's probably this guy right here. Propagation. Let's see who comes back. Now that tiny signal. Let's see if this is him. Nope, the tiny signal is Tom. Let's try 63.5. Brian. Oh, sorry guys. See? I gotta practice. No, that's... Nope, I don't have him. Let's go international. Canada. See what we have there. 38. Spin the dial the other way. Rick. Now, a lot of times I said the other night, people say, yeah, I'm going to run my pilot up the way I want to run it. Yes, of course you can. But, you know, if I'm spinning this dial and you don't ever throw your call sign out there, I don't know who you are, because there could be more than one person operating on a frequency. They're both 579 to me. VE3MM. It's be an easy enough call for me to decode. See? And somebody comes in with the tailgate, and of course it's the easiest call to remember, so they get picked up. Hey, all is fair in love and war. Let me check. But here's a guy. Now I'm confident I can go ahead and spot him because he sent his call sign out. And of course, you do what you want to do. And me running my mouth, I missed that opportunity. I should tailgate. I'll get in like the last guy did. But here's an opportunity to listen to code. And this protocol, you know, you say you'll hear in words. If you do CW long enough, you'll hear words. Well, I don't hear the individual 559 or 579. I hear 579, just like you hear the word here. Nope. Dirty trick didn't work. All right, so I got that contact. I'm going to turn the volume down. It's in the background. So here on my World Radio League, didn't switch. There we go. I lost my streak. I had a streak going of, I'd have over 100 days now. I have 7 days, but it's 7 days on the 7th day of the month, I believe. But I always keep, wait, here we go. Let's go over to leaderboard. I'm not cranking with these guys, so there's 17. Let's see how many I have. I always tend, because there's not a lot of users, it's not because I'm doing great volume of CW. I have 15, so if I do 3 more, I'll jump on the leaderboard. But I am, for all time, I'm doing pretty good. I'm at 929 since I started doing CW on this. And the guy above me is 1,059, and the guy below me is 853. So I got a comfortable 5th place on World Radio League. Go over and check the chat and see if anybody's listening to me run my mouth. And yes, fairish in CW. Yeah, James, we're all fairish, and that's my point I made the other night. Proficiency, there were guys who were way better than me. They weren't ready to get on the radio, according to them. They were way better than me. Decode, sending. But I was, as far as I was concerned, for me, hey, 45, how's it going? As far as for me, I was good enough to give it a shot. And you actually learn when you get on the air. But like I said, I honestly met guys who were much, much, much better than me. And they said they thought they weren't ready to get on the radio. And that's one of the reasons that Long Island CW Club concentrates on getting you on the air soon. because sometimes you're not the best judge. So, what we have here so here's a web browser. If it switches, here's a web browser, and here's something I did the other night, and I don't have my camera, so I'm working on this 3D print, and this is not my work, guys. This is not my 3D print. I'm not trying to say that I did that. My print does not look anywhere near this good. This is like some new nylon, and I think I did JCL PCB or one of those PCB places. But I do like these inserts. So here's a little recording of me. I'll turn down the volume in case I have something copyrighted in the background. Here's a little recording of me putting in one of these inserts using my soldering iron tip. And if you're here for clean soldering iron tips or clean fingernails or as few browsers as possible on the screen, you're in the wrong damn cage. Click away, click away, click away. I keep the tip clean. My soldering is clean. That's all I care about. So there, you take it needs to go on a little bit further, but for filming purposes, you take the soldering iron and press it, a hot soldering iron, of course. First, you pre-drill the hole so that the insert fits in comfortably. You see there, the insert fits into the pre-drilled hole, which is slightly smaller. And if you look at these inserts, that end that's stuck in the print is slightly smaller than the outside diameter. So when you heat this, the 3D print deforms and allows this to drift down in, because of the heat, melt down into the plastic, let's call it, or nylon, or whatever your print's made of. And then it flows back in and grabs a hold of these little knurls. And it's firm. And it's a nice way to finish up your 3D prints. So let's watch again. It's heating. It's in the pre-drilled hole that accepts the base of the insert. And you press down as straight as you can. That's a little crooked, just a tiny bit. And then notice that it's deforming, it's melting, and then when it cools, it's going to form back in and hold on to that device. Let's get rid of this. All right, so what we are here for is an awesome battery. And I might have other things to talk about, but I'm not sure. And I'll have to set that up. Hold, please. James, was it me or someone else? I think Mike did the Just Okay antenna. I haven't gotten mine yet. It's a coming, I think, unless they forgot me. But I don't know. Did I give tips for the Just Okay? I don't remember that. But if I did, you're absolutely welcome. Right now, because I forgot to set up my overhead camera, and I'm furiously plugging in the bits. See, you got to practice this stuff or you'll lose it. Hey Adam, how you doing? Hey, I appreciate you guys all jumping in here and supporting the channel by watching. give me some watch time hours. So right now I'm adjusting my overhead camera. I'm still here. I can't talk. There we go. The camera should be okay now. But it's not popping up. Let's see. The camera's plugged in. It's plugged in. The device is plugged in. Allen Iverson, 45. You're gonna have to educate my poor, uneducated mind. What's your reference to Allen Iverson? God, I'm gonna be embarrassed if this is something I really should know. Thank you, Adam. And I had it working last night. Oh, there it goes. It's a working. Let's now I have to readjust it. There we go. It's pointed in the right direction. Now it's got to be zoomed in. Here we go. All right. There it should be. It'll be up in a second. I knew the reference, couldn't remember the team. Retired basketball player for the 76ers. I am the worst. So this is what we're going to be working on. So real quick, this is what we just talked about. This little insert, I'll see if I can get it up to the camera with my finger. This is the insert, and I'll put it on this device so you can see it a little bit better. Notice how this edge is smaller than the knurled portion. So your pilot hole needs to be the size of this smaller portion. Then you press this down into the pilot hole, get your soldering iron, and press it home the rest of the way. So this is, let's see if I can, there we go. That's the device. Not enough light, but that's the device for the inserts for the 3D print. Put that away. This is a really cool tool for electronics. I think it's actually a walnut or pecan nut picker, but it works great for electronics. So we're looking at the W0AEZ. This is probably backwards. Sorry, guys. That says W0AEZ, and it's for the BPY34L battery kit. And here are most of, if not all of, the things necessary for this battery kit. Need this mount up or I'll lose my mind. Anyway, we are a go. Wonderful. Visual contact has been established. I see you. Yeah, some of these guys are smoking fast, and you don't have to be fast. That's another thing. People set unrealistic goals for the CW. Well, sorry. You set your own goal. You do what you want. This is America. You do what you want to do. However, if you set a goal that is so far behind you, so far ahead of you that you never get on the air, you've done yourself a disservice. Set a smaller goal. There's a guy, he's a Long Island CW club instructor, and Ed is WB. Oh gosh, I can't remember. Ed, I'm sorry, I can't remember your calls. It's easy. It's like MET or MT or EBT. It's an easy call sign. So I always get it when he calls me. We'll come back to that. If you set a goal that is so far, so back to this. If you set a goal that is so far ahead of where you are right now, you'll never get on the air. Ed, back to him, he's an instructor. He can do CW up, down, this way, that way, 4 ways to Sunday. But when he and his wife, Chantel, go out and activate, they operate at 13 to 15 words per minute. They're not there to show off how fast they can be. They're not there to show off how good they are. They're trying to communicate. And that's the whole point of ham radio CW, or all of ham radio. So you do what you want to do, but don't price yourself out of the game. So here we are with this kit. And it's made by W0AEZ. I wonder if everything is going to be backwards today. So you guys tell me when this finally comes on the screen. Let's see. Oh, that's not backwards. And this happens to be the user guide. This is that chonky battery. Everyone calls it the chonky battery. Josh would call it the chonky boy. It's a big battery, and it has a lot of power in it. I'm not here to sell it to you. I'm here to do a little soldering. So this is W0AEZ's BPY14L kit. And if you go to his page, W0AEZ.com, you'll see his products. There's that big battery for the FT2, 3, 5, and the VX8. It fits my VX8, but the FT5, I believe it's what it's called. God, I can't keep up with this. FT5, it fits that. Or maybe this is it right here. But it's a kit. And it's chunky battery, but here's all his stuff. You can go over there and visit him. And we're gonna, so I'm not trying, so this gentleman, I used to know everyone's name, but I lost my cheat sheet. This gentleman at the Ham Radio Experience has already done a build video. The actual build that I'm going to do is just a little different, not because I know how to do it better than he does, but because the kit I received is a tad bit different. In that, on the original kits, I'm going to say, this piece was 3D printed, and you had to wind it with an included strip of nickel. Now it comes with a circuit board that takes place of that 3D print and the winded bits. So what comes in this kit, the back of the battery, 5 amp hour it says, BPY14L, place to hook your belt clip if that's what you want to do. He sends some capped on tape, and this is the part here. I'll show you one. Here's an orange one that I already have made. Here's where that piece that I was talking about, let's see if we can get it, is right there. This is the orange one. This is the same battery as this one. We're going to be putting together the black one today. Look, I got my sticker on there. I'm not using a belt clip with this, but this is what you're working on. And when you get her done, let's see if I can get a USB cable out here, ready to go. The nice thing about this, everyone raves about USB-C. And why wouldn't you, of course, is when you plug it, looking for the cable. When you plug it in, again, the bottom is USB-C. We're going to be constructing that today. When you plug it in, it has an LED to tell you, let's see, can you guys see that? Well, there's an LED in there, and it's purple. There, can you see it? Here, I'll probably blowing up the BMS by unplugging it, plugging it. But blue and red LEDs. Blue means charging, red fully charged, flashing error. So no flashing, no error. But this will fit the FT5 that's tangled in everything. Here we go. So the FT5 that I repaired, I broke that screen, and Yesu sent me another one after I sent them some money, and I repaired it. I broke it, I repaired it. And on it goes. There's that battery that we're working on today. I don't usually keep it on because this radio has parasite draw. There it goes. So I turn it on. It comes on and off just like the stock battery. But that's it. That's what I'm going to be working on today. I've recently become very interested in this kind of thing. Let's see if I have anybody still listening to my runnings on at the mouth. There we go. Yes, I'm just starting. Howdy, y'all. Well, there is no late or on time, dude. I'm just here, and this will be here later. But I've been very interested in this. So I bought one of those soldering microscopes. It can be used for other things. The only problem is I live in an RV. Where am I going to put all this stuff? And I've been tinkering with placing and soldering under the microscope or a magnifying glass SMD components. And it's not as hard. It is hard, difficult. It's difficult. But it's not as hard as I once thought. So something like this, I can actually, I think those are 0805s, the really small ones. And 0805, or I think it's 1205, refers to the size of the chip. And under a microscope, it's not so bad. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at it in a camera, which is kind of my eye view, and I'm also looking at it on the screen that you're seeing. And soldering at that level, the screen you're seeing, is not so bad. Your hand kind of gets used to it. So let's get on over here to the assembly instructions. Now we've already seen the items that he sends. There's a battery, charger, BMS, circuit board for distributing power, 2 batteries, get a battery case, some capped on tape, and some wire. This is a fiddly, I'm using the term that everyone likes to use. This is a fiddly project. It's well done. He designed it well. But if you're not, I consider myself medium good at dealing with kits and so forth. I built my own QCX and my own QMX. And they worked. I think this kit is demanding. How about that? I'll say that. This kit is demanding. And better have your patient shoes on and be ready to get angry, frustrated. Don't get angry. Back off from it and come back later. Get to a point where you can finish off and start easily a little bit later on. But so here's what I was talking about before. Yeah, have your patience and your time and your workspace laid out. Alternate format instructions. This is what the builder says. Some people learn better from text, others from seeing it done. Feel free to follow along with these instructions or watch the video build at that. And that's what's going to lead you to the ham radio experience. And here, let's see. I don't know if
I have a chunky boy battery.
Let's see.
Hi, I'm Chris.
That's Chris.
I have a.
So Chris does an outstanding job of building this battery. Thing is, this build is from the old kit, or version 1, I'm imagining. And it's a little different. It's not that much different. And I'm not trying to redo Chris's work. Go watch his video, you'll figure it out. So in these instructions, he talks about how the battery works and how the battery chemistry works and how milliamps. It's all good stuff. As a matter of fact, you're a better ham if you read it. And if you already know it, you won ham radio. And here's what he recommends for things to have around. Pair of shears, wire strippers. I'm going to use my electrician's knife, side cutters, trusty soldering iron that I forgot to set up, some solder, and some helping hands. Absolutely great stuff. As a matter of fact, these items never get put away in my shop, home, green ham machine, RV, place of dwelling, blah, 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 blah. These things never get put away. They're just always out. I always know where they are. The kit contents we went over already. Only difference between this little piece right here, this is the 3D printed one, and the one I showed you before is the circuit board. So you can kind of skip, not kind of, if you have a newer kit, you can skip this portion right here where you make the contact block. However, in the battery cage is probably where we're gonna pick up. So I've read these instructions and I've looked at these instructions a bunch of times. Hey Steve. Steve retracted his message. Hey Cooley. Hey Steve. How's it going, guys? I'm glad. Thanks for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. I am practicing. So the idea is we need to make the battery contacts inside. I should get some more light. Hold please. Funny thing is, I put my lights on a separate subnet. So every time I want to control them, you would think I'd be able to control them straight through on the main IP, but I can't. And I haven't gotten around to fixing that yet. Yeah, I guess I see that message. Switch to live chat. Why is there a difference? Can anybody tell me? Why is there a difference between top chat and live chat? And what's that all about? Sounds a bit Facebookish to me. There, I've got all the lights on now. Let's see if it works a little bit better. If you look inside here, I think you can see this. It's lit. I need to make the battery contact with this nickel strip inside this battery holder. And he talks about how you should do that, and he just bends the nickel strip just a tad so that it catches Let's see if I get this right. So I'm going to go down. I've got this bend. I don't know if you guys can see that. There we go. It's right there. I've got a little bend in the nickel strip. There we go. There's your money shot. Got this little bend in the nickel strip that's going to catch a hold of this housing. So I'm going to send it down through one side. Back up through the other. Again, if you want an expert to show you how to do this, go on over there and check out that video. And again, I'm not trying to steal anybody's thunder. I'm just practicing. This kit's been lying around here. I built the first one and then didn't want to build another one right quick. But it's been, if I don't want to lose it, I better get on it. So there, get it as flat as possible, take up as much slack as possible. There we go. I'm no machinist. There we go. But I do know with metal like this, the flatter you get it, the less play, and the more likely, if you get uniform bend points, the more likely it is to stay where you put it. So we want to cut it right yeah. And where are my shears? I know if I use my side cutters, you guys are going to stop watching my channel. But actually, I've got good side cutters and bad side cutters. And I've also got a pair of scissors that I use for utility. And it's a good pair. They were my sewing scissors. Yes, I sew. Chuck sews too. They were my sewing scissors, but they got retired. And now they're my nickel cutting scissors. No, seriously, I don't have nickel cutting scissors, but that's what they did today. So that's what I came up with so far, guys. Oh, I'm off screen. And maybe I'll trim this a little bit more. But you see, I've made this battery contact for the 18650 inside. Now, when the batteries, not if, when the batteries get installed, they'll just hold that in there, and it's going to be soldered on one end. It's not likely, this is not bearing weight or structural. And let's see, pass the rattle test. Does not rattle. So we're going to do it again on the other side. So I'm going to do a little doctor in here. Maybe I'll make this even a little bit bigger to grab a hold. To grab a hold. On the next one. In that case, sometimes a second try, because you've done, learning has occurred. The second one is very often better. So again, back at the top here, working on this side, want to recreate, want to do a better job than this one, but we go down in there. Again, there's the bend. Can we all see the bend? Can we see the bend? Yes, we can. Just don't mess with your ex-wife. Yes, I learned that from my sister. So now I have good scissors. I learned the common sense. Oh man, you should have seen. She had something called pinking shears. This is from my sister. My mom sewed, but when she was raising kids, she had other things to do. My aunt, however, made all of my cousins' clothes, and she did a good job. And but I never messed with her gear. But my sister idolizes my aunt, and I don't blame her, and picked up a lot of her habits from my aunt, who was my maternal side, all comes from Mississippi. Hey, Joe Brett. Lexington, Mississippi. Jackson, Mississippi. She was a teacher forever in Jackson, Mississippi. But my sister had these things called pinking shears. And I think I cut paper with them or something. She about had a fit. No doubt. She about had a fit. And I learned that there was a thing called good scissors. Up until that point, I had no idea, dude. Scissors were scissors. No, but I learned from my sister that there were good scissors. So let's see. Let's see if we can get this right. These are the bad scissors. Fear not. But they work, and they're just for this utility stuff. For sure, for sure. let's see. It fell out, so I'll put it back in because I didn't. It's the right size. It's funny, how can something fall out but not fall back in? See why I spend my time in life confused. There we go. All right, so, and it's just about right. And what we're doing is securing it on that side, flattening with my finger inside, pull it taut, bend it over, and again, this could be trimmed closer, but I had this feeling from the past. So this is not the impotent side, in that maybe I can zoom in a little bit more. Let's see. There we go. That's as much as I can do. This is not so much the impotent side. The impotent side is in here, and I hope you guys can see that. Yeah, let's see. I'll wait till it comes up on screen. You just don't mess with your YL good scissors, or your sisters either. So, yeah, you can see it. The contacts inside here is what's, there we go. The contacts and my lights over there. So I got a contacts inside here is what's really important. And these on top is where you're going to solder wires. One red, one black, a little bit later on. Appreciate you guys stopping by, whoever's still out there. I'm not checking the stats. So that is done. One side, the side with the opening, the contacts are made. Now we got to do the same thing over here. Oh, I guess, yeah. Anyway, it'll be all right. I was mistaking this side for that side. We'll do the same thing again. And he sends plenty of materials. You can mess up at least once. And again, it's a challenging kit. I'm not going to say it's advanced or whatever whatever. So there is the hook. There we go. There's the hook. That's gonna grab a hold. He sends enough materials. I think you can mess up once or so. It looks like this is gonna, and again, if you mess up on this nickel, you can always just rebend it. So, you know, that whole thing, measure twice, cut once. And if not, you can order some more. Amazon is your friend. This is fun. This is a kit. This is doing ham radio, hamming around, as I said. I'm just hamming around. So There we go. So I got this hook in here. This part, that hook is holding on to the battery compartment. I fed it down, let the hook grab here, fed it back up. Gonna flatten, gonna go inside and flatten it, take up all the slack. Careful not to pull the hook out. And lay it over. It needs to go to this end right here. Right there. Can you guys see that? Needs to go over because a wire is going to come up this channel. So we will get out the scissors, cut it maybe just a tad bit shorter than where I marked it. Careful that the nickel doesn't go flying, which it did. And let's see. Looks like I cut it too short. But through the power of solder, I will fix you. Yeah, you just need it to be steady. Again, not structural, just steady. So if you go to change your 18650 batteries, you don't want your contacts flying everywhere. You want them, and this is, like I said, this isn't gonna deal with a lot of load, but at some point I'm gonna bring that wire up and solder it right there. So I'll be careful. I thought I was being careful before. I'll be careful to not cut the next one any shorter than the last one. Here's my hook. Go down. So I know I'm gonna want to come back up, so I'll go ahead and pre-bend it that way. There we go. So down with the hook. Let the hook catch a hold like that. Hold it, because the nickel, you will pull it out. Take up the slat while you flatten. You flatten inside here. So hold the hook so it doesn't pop out. The nickel is soft. Flatten and take up the slack. I'll measure this time and hopefully not cut it. Let's see. Try this once again. And this one turned out a little bit better. Covers more of the space, but like I said, it's just a solder point. Solder can fix it. There we go. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 battery terminals, and we can move on with the instructions. So we made those. So here's where his instructions talk about the little hook and how to feed that through, and wire cutting length. I'm scared. Oh, sorry. You guys, see, if you don't practice these things, it's gonna be a hard way to go. So there's the battery cage and the nickel strip. He's feeding it through at that point. Here's the hooks. I'm repeating myself. Yes, I said this before. Am I getting old? Here's the hook that we talked about. These are great instructions. And we come to cutting wires to length. It's in metric and freedom units. So red and black, separate the two 30 millimeter red black wires completely so that you have separate wires. So he sends let's see. On my ruler, it doesn't show 30 centimeters. Oh. Cutting the wires. Cut the following lengths. Oh, yes. You have to cut the following lengths. He sends 24.5 millimeters total wire for you to play with. So he says 30 millimeters, which is 3 centimeters. I went to school, boy. I'm telling you. Which is 3 centimeters. And don't, as I remember, you don't want to add any extra, because this is going to be a handful. Believe it or not, this 3 centimeter wire is going to end up being a handful to get into a place. So I'm just trying to mark it. Probably cut it with this wire, and this knife is my electrician's knife. It's made for this point. Freak you not out. You'll be all right. And these side cutters that I spared, these are my old ones. My good ones are actually in the truck. So here we have a 30 millimeter red and black. So he says it's 1 3/6 inches freedom units. Separate the two completely. So you have a 30 millimeter red and a 30 millimeter black. Done. 40 millimeters. So we're not going to separate. The next one, oh, here. There we go. Here's the cut instructions. For the red and black. First we did separate the two 30mm red and black wires so you have a 30mm red and a 30mm black. Then 40mm not separated. And I'm just marking it. Again, this is my electrician's knife, and it's mine. I can kind of do with it what I want. It's America. This one, not separated. And then 100mm, which is 10 centimeters. And here's some extra to play around with. So we got a 30mm separated black and red, 40mm not separated, and then 100. Split the ends of the 100. And 40, but don't completely separate them. Then the white, we need a 30 and a 40. I love dogs. I'm not very fond of my neighbor's dog because it's a stupid dog. I used to train Schutzen, German Shepherds, Rottweilers, Doberman, and a dog should understand threat versus non-threat. Not bark at every damn thing that goes past. That's ridiculous. So we're looking at 30mm, which is 1 3/16, and a 40mm, which is 1 9/16 white wire. 30 and 40. So try a different method. Try a pinch method. Here's your 30. My grandmother used to, she was the best cook, and occasionally she'd pull out a teaspoon measuring or a tablespoon measuring, but most of the time she just pinched it. She, a pinch, a dab, a handful, not a handful, but a palmful. She knew what was what. She'd pull out the measuring cup a lot of times when it came to big amounts, but small amounts, never. She just pinched it, dabbed it, threw it. So strip just a couple millimeters less than an eighth from the ends of each wire to make future steps easier. Heavily tin each stripped and with solder. Set all wires aside. So I can get rid of Mr. Ruler here. And out comes my friend, Mr. Omni-Fixo. It's messy, sorry. It gets, you know what? It gets usage. That's what it is. It gets usage. So we're gonna wait on Omni for a second, and we're gonna tin these wires. And we're not gonna an eighth. Hopefully. I don't mess this up on camera for all to see. The world will know. There we go. That's one. Guarantee I'm gonna mess one up though. That's two. And I have wire strippers. I have two good ones. I just don't want it right now. It's not for this. This is more organic. Why did he start talking about salad right in the middle of the electronics kit? Don't understand that guy. You get a feel for when you're touching the wire inside beyond the outside of the wire and touching it without cutting it. And I don't get it right all the time. Sometimes I cut the wire and then I'm angry with myself for not having a better touch. So my dad, I never saw him use a pencil sharpener. He just whipped out his pocket knife. Yes, pocket knife. That's what we all used to carry, including young boys, Boy Scouts, and no one thought we were trying to terrorize the world. Yes, a few picnic benches got cut up at the park, but hey, we were kids. We most certainly didn't pull them on each other. Let's blame all our problems on weapons and not parenting. Oh, side note. Forgive me. I slipped. It wasn't PC. Now see, I always thought PC meant pretty caustic. But evidently that's not the case. EOD, boom! What's up, man? How you doing? I'm sorry, man. I wasn't looking at the chat. I was trying not to screw up. But I appreciate y'all for coming by, and if you're still out there, thanks for stopping by. Oh, whoa, a little heavy-handed on this one, Bill. I'm not feeling it. There we go. All right, guys, we've got them all stripped. I hope I was on camera with that. We've got them all stripped less than 1/8 of an inch. Let's see what they say. Yeah. Okay, time to tin. So one would think that the ham radio operator had the soldering iron all set to go. One would be wrong, but I have a Weller and it heats up really fast and the gear never goes away. The main unit stays on the table. The solder's right here most of the time anyway. Solder's right here. Let me get rid of my drinking glass. Always good to drink water. I've lost over 10 pounds. I was using a BS. My nutrition was all over the place. It was shot. This job that I do will really challenge you to be healthy, eat healthy, and it did. And so I like being around 210, 212, 215. I'm happy. My clothes fit. I don't look like, I like the way I look. That's when you guys are first introduced to me, going with the Grand Canyon with Red Summit RF, and Jason Ham Radio 2.0, and Tank Radio, and Adam K6ARK. I was about 210, 215, and I like that weight. My joints didn't complain. It was okay. I could have probably lost another 5, but whatever. Slowly it starts creeping up on me. Slowly but surely. 215. Okay, I better do something about that. 218. I better work on that. 220. One of these days. Finally at about 228, 230, I'm like, that's it. Enough. So here, enough. Here we're gonna solder some wires. You guys don't want to hear about my health problems. This 80 meter. This is the 80 meter. So I'm running it at about 842 because I'm impatient, but I also know I can't let it dwell very long on things. So that 842, and that's Fahrenheit. 842. What are you, crazy? You know what, guys? It's just like anything else. By moderating my dwell time, by having it that high, I don't need a higher dwell time. And by knowing that it's a high soldering temp, I'm very careful not to leave it on, but it helps. I don't have to go back and forth. If I'm, let's say something is attached to a ground plane that's huge, I don't have to go back and turn the iron up. It's already up. And it's not clean. And like I said, if you're here for clean soldering iron tips, you're in the wrong damn cage. Click away, click away, click away. I use, what do I use? I use tip tinner. And if my tip is clean, I'm good. The rest of this iron, I could give about. It's the tip. If the tip is clean, I'm good to go. Leave me alone. These wires, it feels like that the DuPont wire. Has anybody ever tried to solder those DuPont wires? Man, they give me the flux big time. And I should probably know why. They probably have a composition that is not meant to be soldered. But I try anyway. And occasionally so what I do is I'll break that plastic part off, and there's a stainless or nickel thing in there that's part of the plastic clamp, and I'll solder to that. And it makes it a little bit easier. Got a couple things I'm working on. So I have a Max fan with old technology, the best RV fans out that I know of. But it's old technology for the remote control. It's IR. And I guess there's still some things. But remember back in the day when everything was IR? Your TV and your stereo. Remember when we had stereos? Well, it's IR. And I'm putting together an IR repeater. And I can't, from where I sleep, I can't reach out and touch it with the remote. It's around the corner and up. And I sleep around the corner and up. So what we're going to do, or what I'm going to do, is make a repeater that's in direct line of sight of both where I sit and veg. That just doesn't look tinned. And no, I'm not going to soak these wires in alcohol or flux and get them. They're just going to tin. By the power of Grayskull, you will be tinned. Anyway, what was I babbling about? Oh, so that's so I'm using DuPont wires with it, and I love, if you look at the header thingy on my channel, you'll see I love messing with little microcontrollers, not because I'm good at it, but because I have fun with it. So let's see the next instruction. How about if I plus this up? See? Look, I can be taught. I can learn. Tinning wires with solder. That is what you guys just saw. Let me check the chat. Let's see what's going on here. That's not the chat. That's not the chat. Where's the chat? I clicked away from the chat. T.O., you still there, man? If you are, howdy, howdy. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, the Max fan. T.O. heard that part, so he's still there. It's an awesome fan, but it's the remote is IR. And so it's not radio waves, it's not RF, it's IR, and it has to have line of sight. So I'm going to make a repeater that's in direct line of sight of the fan and where I hang out. I think I already said that stuff. But here we go, back to the instructions. Thanks for stopping by, guys. I appreciate you very much. Let's see, back to I can learn. I plussed it up so you can read it. See, I'm writing all these. No, I'm not. Wiring the BMS board. Place a bead of solder on each solder panel. Let's see about this here. All right, I'm going to place my wires off this side. And this, my friends, is the BMS board. I want to be careful not to crush. I am gonna hold across. So the OmniFixo is great, man. These things, they're magnetic. I keep missing the camera. So there's a magnet in this yellow thing, and it, well, there you go, Bill. It sticks to the OmniFixo. So Vince, VE6LK, turned me on. Watch out for that guy. He's a great guy. He will spend your money, man. On good stuff, though. Vince is a great guy. I'm going to clamp, and they have these silicone tips. And the way they operate is they go like that there. So this one stays in place, and this goes up, and then it comes down on your piece. So I'm going to clamp gently across these chips. And we're going to get to soldering. I am liberal with the solder. Forgive me. That's why I keep wick around. And I like this tip. I want to learn to use a chisel tip. So what I do, I'm not telling anybody how to solder, is I'll melt the solder and let the solder, some people solder the tip up, this came off. Huh. So much for hot tips, Bill. I like to let the solder transfer the heat to the pad. And everyone probably does that, so they're like, why are you telling me the obvious, dude? That's probably too much. And that's what your hot tip gets you. I think but it soldered back. Maybe I should crank this down just a bit. And I think it's running to the other side. So anyway, those 5 are soldered. Again, gently. Yeah, it ran through the holes to this side. Gently. Here's the B plus and the B minus. Soldered. I don't remember I've been soldering the same way forever. I don't remember the pads coming loose. But evidently it's a thing. There we go. Hopefully we ain't messed it up with your hot soldering iron. I know if 45 was here, he'd say something. Back to the instrucciones. Let's see. Place a bead of solder on each of the solder pads. This will help make the next solder the 30 millimeter solder the 30 millimeter black and white wires to P minus and BM, the separate ones. So P minus and BM. So what he's showing here is the separate wires, these 30 millimeters. Oh, the size delineates them as well. Soldered in this direction off the board, and the white wire being soldered up, if you notice the vertical, up, and the black and white soldered down. So P minus would be, so again, 30 millimeter separate. I'm gonna switch it around. That's another thing. So this is a really handy tool. So you can change the orientation. Again, it's magnetized. You can change the orientation however you need it. So I'm going to be careful with this hot iron. Maybe I should step it down a few. P minus is over here. So let's see. This is a red wire, and this is a black wire with some red on it. Keep that in mind. Black wire to P minus. Solder the 30 millimeter white wire. So we're going to go in order. Instead of me reaching across this red wire, I'm going to solder this. I'm not going to switch hands. I'm right-handed, left-handed. Depends. My dad was ambidextrous, so he taught me how to do a lot of things, not knowing. Like, for instance, I play hockey with my left hand because he taught me left-handed. So he was ambidextrous because he was left-handed when he was a child, and they beat it out of him. I'm not sure if they beat him. Hard to imagine my dad being beat, but they made him be right-handed. More culturally acceptable. So there's the white wire, 30 millimeter. And we'll go over here, and the completely red wire goes to P plus. So we got that done according to the instructions. Solder the 30 millimeter black and white wire to P minus and BM. Incorrect, Bill. You did it wrong. That was supposed to be on the other side. Let me check. Let's make our mistakes live and on camera, and then fix them and not be upset by it. Huh. Solder the 30 millimeter black and white wires to P minus and B1, BM. That's not, something about that right there ain't right. Place a bead of solder on each of the solder pads. This will help make the next steps easier. And I can't take the other one apart, guys. It's kind of sealed. Well, I could, but I'm not gonna. We're gonna figure this out online. Solder the 30 millimeter black and white wires to P minus and BM. So if you look on this, it's showing them, so it's not P minus and BM. Yeah, I think he meant P minus and P plus, because on this board, if you notice that on this board, P minus and P plus are in the same place and BM is lower. Like this. So if you see where the black and white wires are soldered, on this board they're labeled P minus and P plus. And then carefully solder the white wire to the BM pad. So I think those are wrong, slightly wrong. And he mentions that these things are going to be updated and corrected. So I think I have it right so far. I think I have my black wire soldered to P minus, my white wire, my black wire soldered to P minus, my red wire soldered to P plus, and my white wire, like the picture, is soldered to BM. And if I got it wrong, I'll redo it. And I can't tell from the picture, but I think, I'm not sure if it's going to make any difference ultimately, because the pads go through to the other side as long as they're on the right pad. Let's see. If you haven't already, now finally solder the red wire to P plus. I'm confused. So if we look at this, it's showing those wires. Let's take a look at what I have here. Try to go in the same orientation. My camera may be backwards, so here, red is on the plus. This is the plus side, and this is the minus side, and they're connected to red is P plus and black is B minus, or P minus, P plus and P minus. So if you look at this in the same direction, there, try to make it in the same direction, he's got, is it this long? So we'll look here. I'm confused. Let's see, I'll go to the chat. What do you guys see? Pads are the worst to start. Still have stereo for surround sound. Can't beat it, buddy. Cannot beat it. We're going to go back over to these instructions because they're vexing me. And I'm going to go back up here again, guys. Solder the 30 millimeter black and white wires to P minus and BM. That dog don't hunt with me, according to the picture. Okay, so what we have, according to the picture, is wrong. So this 30 millimeter wire that I was trying not to solder does not go here. And my soldering iron auto-cooled. So this wire is supposed to be the 40 millimeter wire. 40 millimeter wire to the BM pad so that it points up toward B1, B. Yeah. So this is the wrong wire, and it's easy enough fixed. The 40 millimeter wire. That looks like the picture. And go back and read again. Place a bead of solder on each of the solder pads. This will help make the next steps easier. Already done. And somehow, for me, it wasn't easier. Now carefully solder the 40 millimeter wire. No, solder the 30 millimeter black and white wires to P1 and BM. How come that just doesn't? Just doesn't look like the picture to me, guys. What the instructions say. So there's the picture. There's what I have. I have a 30 on P plus red and a 30 black on P minus. We'll keep going, see if we figure it out. Now carefully solder the 40 millimeter wire. Carefully solder the 40 millimeter wire. It doesn't say white or red. Now carefully solder the 40 millimeter wire to the BM pad so that it points up toward B minus and B plus. That seems to be accomplished. We'll keep going. Place a bead of solder on the B minus and B plus. Already done that. Now place the 100 millimeter, I can't talk. Now place the 100 millimeter black and red wire so that it points in the same direction as the P1 and P minus and P plus wires. Make sure, so that is on the other side of the board. Silence. Let's look at it. So I got to Kapton tape this here pretty soon. So we have this red wire and this black wire and this white wire set. We're going to have to go to the video. Oh, sorry, you guys weren't seeing it. So we have this red wire, this black wire, and this white wire set. And we're going to go to the video. Let's see what he has here. Hope he doesn't mind.
To try to have helping hands hold everything together and then solder and then it's a lot easier if we just pre-tin all of this.
So we've already pre-tinned. Let's see where he is.
I am going to no connection. over here. Don't want to do both. Something like this.
So there's the
Now
40.
shorter wire. Let's see if I can do it without disturbing the longer one and not smelling chicken. Don't want to do both. Let's connect that one in. You see, all I'm really doing is reflowing that bead.
So that's the BM wires. And so he's straight away from the instructions, and I'm willing to do that to get it right. So we're going to try to make it look like that. So we're going to flip this over. Carefully put it in the helping hands. And here. I'm going to have to switch it again. So these two white wires go on the BM. Hopefully I won't dislodge, which I probably will. Hopefully I won't dislodge the white wire. Get a little solder on the end of the tip, just a bit. If I burn the wires, nobody's going to be mad with me because it'll never be seen again. Evidently, ugh. I want to burn these wires. Tip's probably dry right now. There we go. All right. So far, so good. Let's go back to the video.
Something like that.
If you check earlier in my video here, my live stream, I've already given him credit. You can go on over and watch his instructions.
Let's take the other two 30mm wires, black and red. Black goes to minus.
And we've already done this, black on minus. We've got that done here.
Now is a good time to break out the Kapton tape.
All right, so we're gonna go run and get the Kapton tape. Hold please. Trust me, I'm not running anywhere. It is right. Some things I just know where they are. Because I use them all the time. Actually, I have a little, I can show it to you. So I have a doingy bungee thing. You guys are all familiar with these. And I hang my tape on, all my tape on these. And then I find some place to hook these. And I always know where all my tape is. And I have plenty of Kapton tape. Sorry this is taking so long. Feel free, if you're watching this later, to speed it up. I know the guys that are watching it are like, I'll be back after you're done. And I'll watch this at 2 times.
Like I said, I'm not sure. Kevin might be ending up selling his kits with Kapton tape to go along with. The cool thing about Kapton is it can deal with some quite nicely high temperatures.
It's like Tang, the astronauts made it famous.
So that's kind of what we're using it for. Make sure that doesn't come off there. Okay. All of these chips and contacts and all of that can't end up touching other stuff inside the battery. Right now, the easiest thing to make sure does not contact is all the chips, and then we're gonna later put some more Kapton tape on.
So let's protect all the chips with Kapton tape. And here they are right here. So if I scoot, I may have to pass this. I may should have gotten the next size bigger tape. So I scoot that under there. And I might need access to these pads in the future. So I will cover the chips. And I'm probably using too much, and it's probably going to bite me later. But there you go. There, chips are covered there. And get another strip. Again, probably too much. Utility scissors, not the good scissors. And yeah, I should have got the thicker tape. One more little strip. will butt it right up. No problem handling the solder heat. The tape will have no problem handling solder heat. I mean, if you can handle space reentry, it can handle a little solder heat. There we go. So I think we're capped on tape. Maybe too much, maybe just enough. Let's go back and see what he's up to.
Around other stuff. So I'm gonna carefully put the tape here. It's on the back. So I'm lifting the white wire up, and avoiding both sets of contacts that I made here. And now I'm going to wrap around. This is just kind of a first shot at it. Alright, there we go. I'm basically covering the chips. These contacts here, P plus and P minus, are still available. They're still available in the back, and then B minus and B plus are available over here. Now I'm going to kind of kink the white wire off to the side a little bit. I'm going to be a little less careful about not clamping on chips now that I've got some Kapton tape on there. And I'm going to lay down the 40 millimeter wire like this. And obviously black goes to minus, red goes to plus, as usual.
So what he's saying, again, I've given full credit, the 40 millimeter wire, this in here, up here, in the same direction on B plus and B minus. Let's pop on the magnifying glass. Make sure, yep, B plus is on the same side as the red wire that we've already dealt with. Guess I can leave these on, they'll probably bump into the camera. But anywho, soldering iron hit. No, it hasn't gone off, but I'm gonna bump it just in case. Crazy. There we go. Gonna need some tweezers here. There we go.
We're just going to get them soldered down, the 40 millimeter wire soldered down to the B minus and B plus contacts without burning myself.
He's got packet going on in the back. I had CW earlier. Hope that's not coming through bothering you guys right now.
There we go.
Exactly. There we go.
One thing I do want to comment on here, you're seeing me do some pretty careful solder work. I am not what I consider a very coordinated person.
So we're not going to steal his whole video.
I would highly recommend for you to give this a shot, and you're going to pleasantly surprise yourself with how good you are at soldering. So now I'm going to take this longer red-black wire, and I'm going to go to P plus and P minus, same as I've been doing before. So let's melt that in.
So we got the longer wire to do. Flip the board over to the chip side, and
one thing I'd like to throw in here, you are at soldering. So now I'm going to take this longer red-black wire, and I'm going to go to P plus and P minus, same as I've been doing before.
so P plus and P minus. Oh, there we go. P plus and P minus are right cha. And we have a soldering iron. Clean the tip. Put a little solder on there. And these are pre-tinned. Move the mouse so there's not a mess. And we'll touch. We'll touch, we'll solder, we'll commiserate. Done. And tweezers just help sometimes. And plus I'm getting used to using them doing the B minus black wire. Doing the S&V stuff. It helps to get used to using them. So there, I think the BMS is wired. We'll tell later if something blows up. Let's go over to the instrucciones. So, does mine look like that? Let's see. Let's see. Turn it around this way. This is my orientation. Black wire, red wire, white wire coming out the bottom. They're soldered to the bottom of the non-board side here. And then the long wire soldered to P plus and P minus there. And then this red and black wire look properly oriented, soldered at the top of the board here, and a white wire here. Let's see here. Step 5, connect the BMS and USB boards. At this point, the BMS board is complete and should look similar to the figure 15. Yes, it looks similar. I'm not taking bets. On the BMS board, place a bead of solder on the B plus and B minus and middle pins of the USB board. Let me see if I can. So, if we look at it, Take up my handy dandy walnut pointer. This is the B minus, this is the B plus, and this is the middle pin. So let's get at it. B minus first. B plus second. I don't know why I chose that. And the middle pin. There we go. All right. One by one, solder the 30 millimeter black, white, and red wires to the respective pads. So we pull out, so that's what I just read right there. One by one, solder right here. Solder the 30 millimeter black, white, and red wires to the respective pads on the USB board. Now, for me, it looks something like this. So that's, again, this OmniFixo's outstanding. So, the 30 millimeter wires are them there. Don't have to be so gentle. Huh. We'll flip it. So I am able to heat, hope I'm not in the way, clean my tip, get a little solder on it. That's not how I want to do that. There we go. Raise it up in the air. Get a little solder on it. I'm able to flip this one down the way I would use tweezers on my fingers to keep it in contact. That's fun. This is B plus. Give this a tweak like that. Again, solder. No, I'm not burning the table. Just have it. And this white one, why do I have, I wonder why we cut this one so long. And hopefully I don't have the wrong wire in the wrong place. But I seem to remember he had the same problem with his. Hold while I get a drink of water, guys. Dun, 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 dun. Dun. That's my version of hold music. And I know I should hold off on the hold music, right? I don't normally live stream because I don't think I have anything very interesting to talk about. However, my watch time hours are in the garbage, so anything that I can do to bring those up, and I don't mind doing this. I like doing this. I have a feeling I'm the only one that's entertained. All right, let's go back over to the instructions. And they say, one by one, solder the 30 millimeter black, white, and red wires through perspective pads on the USB board. The complete board pair should look similar to figure 1. Now, I think it does. And notice that the ones in the instructions have that little extra amount of white wire, more white wire than I have, but that'll probably be handled later. Preparing the contacts. I screwed the contacts up. Let's see. I cut those. And I need to put solder across those. So how am I going to fix that? Well, I had a bit of nickel left if I can locate it. But I'm not going to let that little bit. All right, who knows what I did with the nickel? It wasn't a lot. It might have flipped over. There it is. I can fix this. No problem. So what I'm going to do is, I made the mistake of believing that this side had to be cut the way this side had to be cut. And I was like, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. But I did anyway. So what I'm going to do is, there's enough room in there. I'm going to really flatten this leftover piece of nickel. I'm going to ham it. I'm not going to be outdone. I'm going to really straighten it and flatten it out the best I can. And I'm going to solder it across here. So I guess there wasn't really any extra nickel, guys. Be careful. Maybe there's a tiny bit. So here's a sliver of nickel that's going to go under my foot someday. So I'm going to put this nickel across here. Now, none of this is going to be seen. I need to shorten it so that I can solder it. None of this is going to be seen. It just needs to be electrically and structurally sound for what it does. It's going to live in this case. And by the way, he sent Kapton tape with the kit. It just needs to be able to do what it needs to be able to do. It's not holding up the foundation of a building. Let me stop hacking before I hack myself into more trouble. So, there. Let's see. Again, now this is where good old hot iron is going to come in handy. I should occasionally check the chat, but I'm busy fixing up my mistake, guys. Welding with solder. Let go, let go, let go. So it's not perfectly straight. Should probably get the helping hands to help with this. So this is where another iron would come in handy. There we go. Now I'm going to get the other side welded as per se. So if you take a look, you're like, man, you're budgeted up. But if you take a look at the profile, you can't see it. And that's what counts. This clearance to go in the case is what counts. So I'm just going to ham it. I think, therefore I ham. I burned my case by not paying attention. I knew I smelled chicken. No, I knew I smelled plastic. See, I burned it. But again, you won't see that. I might have to sand that down, but you won't see it. There. Now I have to, inside of here, I have to put a bead of solder. We need more light. That's where I've got light. Get my ICOM hat with my O light attached at the top and beam some light in there. And we have solder. Got a big old solder blob. That should make things easy. I just crushed my solder into my cleaning steel wool. Okay, let's see. Place a bead of solder into your screwed up, no, place a bead of solder on nickel strips. Now here's where I said I'd fix things with solder later. And hopefully this comes true. Not this one per se. But definitely this one. Cut it too short. So we make mistakes, we try not to. I read these instructions a million times. We've even done this before. We just ham forward. We just keep on hamming. So the instructions say, prepare the contacts for soldering. Place the beads of solder on the nickel strips as follows. Here's the one I repaired. And here's the one that my fingers are crossed for. Now, we don't have this piece. This is the one we talked about before. We have a board. I don't think anything goes on the center. It's the outside contacts. We have the board, so there's less, but the instructions nor the video talk about this. So my video and probably a couple others out there are going to talk about this. It's kind of neater and cleaner. Big old blob of solder. Bill, you put too much? Yeah, okay, whatever. A big old blob of solder. You need to clean that with alcohol. I have alcohol. I use it on my other boards, but I ain't gonna use it on this. The flux can be corrosive, but by the time it corrodes it, I'll be dead. I imagine. So, beads of solder are on the contacts. Install the circuit boards. Here's where it gets kind of hairy. So, if I remember correctly, take this hat and this light off, get my magnification hat visor back on. I can't see without it. Yes, I can, but okay. So, that board has to go in there. And on this side, there's separation. There's separation for the BMS and can't talk. And the USB board. So let's get it off of here. This wire goes out through that port. You guys see that? So let's try this. This long wire goes out through this here port, and then this BMS board will slot in there. Why this white wire is so long, I cut it to the proper length. Ah, not through that hole. Yeah, through that hole. This board sits in that slot. And it sits there because you don't want it. Let's take a bit. You don't want to push your USB-C in there and have this board slide back. So I'm gonna get up close and personal and get it down in there. And it is down in there. And I'm gonna stuff something in there to make sure it stays down in there. There we go. All right. So far, so good. Be aware that the boards are intended to fit snugly, so you may need to gently persuade them with, I did that, or needle pliers. Split the Something ain't right. Yep, something ain't right. Wrong hole. So this long wire needs to go out there. Oh, can't see what I'm doing. Had to hold. The long wire needs to go out the back of the battery cage. Is that right? Yep. No, that's not right. The long wire doesn't go out anywhere. Before I break them off. There we go. I'm confused. Let's see. Wires protruding from the back of the cage. The 40, make sure the 40 millimeter black wires stick out the back of the cage. Black and red wires. So that would be these. Need to stick out the back of the cage. These are going to be connected to that board. How do we do that? See? So the BMS board, sorry, the USB board fits easy enough. Then we have to figure out how to get the black and red wires out the back of the cage. And tweezers are my friend. Voila. Okie dokie spooky. And this is why I don't live stream. Because I can't keep up the snappy patter. Not that my patter is snappy in the first place. And deal with little tasks like this. If I knew what I knew now, I would have cut that white wire just a tad bit smaller and cut this white wire, I remember this from building the other one, just a tad bit longer. And no, I didn't mix them up, but yeah, that wire needs to be longer. That is the 40. And it needs to, it's just barely extending past the BMS board. And it needs to connect. So first things first, Kapton tape on the edge of that board. And I remember this from the last one. One of those wires needs to be shortened and one of them needs to be lengthened. And if I had to do it again tomorrow, that's exactly what I'd do. But I only bought 2 of these because I only have 2 radios and I don't carry them both at the same time. I only have 2 radios that these batteries will fit. And let's see, a little tape on there won't hurt anyone. There, that won't short. So this will do. This wire is just a smidge, this white wire that connects to the bottom lead is just a smidge short. But I believe I can make it work. There is Kapton tape on there where the BMS butts up against it that will keep it from shorting out. And it won't wear out because there's no physical stress on this part of the board other than being crammed into this space. See if I can get everything in here without breaking any contacts. Ouch. Those tweezers are sharp. So this needs to connect here, and I can make that happen. These and all of this, notice that this is, it's flush, it'll fit in. These wires connect up here. So let's make this miracle work. Okay. Let's read a little further in the instructions to make sure I'm not screwing this up. Split the red and the white wire. See, he's got his crammed in there too. Split the red and white wires. We're going to deal with these in the back here. Make sure they're still sticking out. Yes, they are. They're still sticking out. Split the red and the white wire pair and run each down the track on either side of the barricade to the plus and minus. Do not run wires over the USB board. Wires will pinch between the board and enclosure when you install it. Solder the wires. Solder the plus wire to the pad on the left of the USB port. Okay. So we're going to split these long wires. The plus wire goes to the left. The minus wire goes to the right, and they are in their own little channels. This is nicely designed. Let's make this work. So there, I'm going to cut it. Hope I didn't cut off too much. Solder the plus wire to the left of the USB port. That's my left. And again, where's my knife? There's my knife. It's an electrician's knife. It's okay for me, and it's mine. Like I was mentioned earlier, somehow I think stripping wires like this, some people do it with their teeth, is more organic. I can feel it, and sometimes I screw it up, but I didn't today. I didn't today. So there it is. Let's put way too much solder on it to make it easy. Soldering iron detempt. Hey guys, you know what? Maybe I should swing on over to the chat and see who's in here. Ham Radio with KEOMAD. Hey Hillbilly, if you're still there, we're building a battery, bud. I should look at the chat more often, I'm sorry. Well, we're building at a battery, if you know what I mean. So that should be tinned. And we put a bunch of solder. We're gonna smell chicken here in a minute. Put a bunch of solder on both sides. Get out of the way. I've just got this feeling. and it didn't work out. Let's try it again. Might be hot, Bill. Watch out. Yep, it's hot. Yep, it's hot. Okay. I said I was gonna fix it, and I'm gonna fix it. I cut this piece of nickel too short. And I knew when I did it, I did it. And it worked. If I didn't solder my tweezers, I have to put that down right there. Yeah, I did. That's funny. Anyway, that's gonna work. That's gonna be in that channel. Now this side is gonna be easier because I didn't cut it too short. How does one lose one's knife so very often? There we go. Close the knife, it falls off the counter. I don't wear shoes a lot and it goes right into my foot. So I close the knife. So we'll twist it and bend it acutely. Soldering iron is not burning anything. There we go. So I put enough solder in here that it should, even though I didn't tin this one. Yeah, it did. I put a big old solder blob on there. And let's be careful with the soldering iron. Okay, so back to the instructions. Thank you guys for being here, whoever might be here. And here we go. Solder the white BM to the nickel strip. I think I soldered those on the wrong way, but we are at the bit nickel strip, so let's deal with this catastrophe. This wire, in my humble opinion, should have been just a hair longer. And the other one should have been just a hair shorter. So what's this mean? This means if I ever drop this radio one day down the road, this wire may come loose. And I'll be taking this apart and rewiring it, because this is going to be held on with solder. And again, and there it is. It is making contact. Do I like it? No. Is it gonna work? Yeah, excuse my head in here. Let's see if I can screw it up more. Be nice. Ah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, actually it's perfect. It lies right in the solder blob and exactly where the designer told you to put it. These wires, I think, are incorrect. So, this picture, no, they're not. Yes, it is. These wires are incorrect. So, simple enough to unsolder this house of cards. Title of this video is going to be Building with Solder Blobs. And I can actually actually have a chance to fix this. So let's see. So, I guess a lot of you don't know I am an aspiring banjo player. And I've been listening to this one song a lot that totally I'll probably get a copyright strike for even attempting it. They'll like send me to music jail. But it's Let the Church Roll On. I find it hilarious and entertaining. And what I find socially interesting is they talk about all the sinners in the church. So there's a deacon in the church, there's a drunkard in the church. If you're traditionalist, you know that some churches don't want women to wear makeup. I'm not getting in that fight. I ain't got no dog in that fight. I'm just saying. And there's a deacon in the church, and he won't do right. What shall we do? Turn him out, kick him out, let the church roll on. So the person who is supposed to be responsible, who claims to be a leader, is kicked out. And they talk about there's a drunkard in the church, and he won't do right. What shall we do? Take his liquor, pour it out, let the church roll on. So they're gonna let him stay. They're just gonna fix what they consider is the problem. The deacon, on the other hand, he got kicked out. There's women in the church, and they won't do right. What shall we do? Take some water, wash it off. Anyway, there's women in the church, they got paint on their face. What shall we do? Take some water, wash it off, let the church roll on. So the point is, the regular people, if you would, they get a break. The leader who screws up gets tossed. That's what I get from the song. And I promise I won't sing anymore. Let's see. So these polarities. So I've been, let's see. So this says that if you have it in this orientation with the bumps up, red should be on the left and black on the right. Now see, he said in the instructions left and right. Left and right depends on how you're looking at it. But in this case, there's a picture that plainly shows a black wire on the right. So that is a black wire, even though there's a little red on it. And a red wire on the left. Solder the plus wire to the left pad. And if you think those are solderoids, I'm sorry. This is all going to be hidden. It just needs to be electrically sound. So solder the plus wire on the left and the negative wire on the right. Separate and trim for the block. Put a bit of super glue in a socket and wait. We haven't. Wait a second. There we go. Installing the circuit boards we got there. So if we turn this up, there we go. So if we look at this picture, and I hold it with the hole at the bottom, the red wire is on the left, looking at it, and the black wire is on the right. So something like that. This is my left. I know that this is my left. This is my right. So red left and black right. If we look at this, red left, black right. So I'm looking at it without the reverse mirror thingy, and it looks right. So let's get these really short wires prepped. How am I gonna? So this, again, this is where prepping wires without wire cutters can be handy, because you don't always have, there we go, you don't always have room to get wire cutters in there. So the skill to cut the ends off wires without a wire cutter can be handy. So left, this is my left. I know it's not necessarily yours. And that little board, probably lost it in all the mayhem. Oh, here it is. And I think I tinned the wrong side. I tinned the side that goes out. I don't know if it's going to make that much of a difference, but I'm going to get rid of that. Yeah. Hey, I make mistakes. So this one, whenever I use wick, have to step away and get it. Whenever I use wick, I do use flux. Makes a tremendous amount of difference. And I had my wick. I was using it last night. I thought I put it back on my kit. And I thought I even saw it fall. Hold please. So we're going to put up the Kapton tape. And this is a pretty cool kit. And for a while there, people wanted to order them already done. But he got so far, so deep in his orders. I hate to say behind. I hate to cast aspersions toward people. He got so many orders that they weren't all coming right away. So he started making these kits. So I will get some fresh wick. Just get a piece so I'm not heat sinking the whole dang on roll. I'm gonna make a mess, folks. We're gonna put it there, and then we're gonna put flux on it. And it's gonna work really well because flux is the magic. Put the flux away. I should be wearing gloves, but I ain't. Let's see. Let's get at it. There's an ant. I don't see those very often. Like magic. Probably should have got 2 pieces. Hold please. Wonder if there's enough flux left on that board. Probably not. We'll see. Yeah. It's a bubbling, it's a boiling. Like magic. Good enough for government. There we go. Done. And do it the right way. Aren't you gonna clean that? Yeah, I'm gonna clean it. Big old blob. Big old blob. Got the magic speckles on. Let's see. They're not a touching. Okay. So the Q-tips are handy. And the alcohol, again, handy. I have a bottle that I only use for electronics, and I just dip the Q-tips in there. Let's see here. This stuff is as sticky as all get out, so you do want to clean it. And what little bit of solder on here won't matter because it's not very proud of the surface. It's slightly recessed in here. So let's take off the magic glasses. These are kind of long, but they get pushed back in with the board, right? We'll see how that goes. Magic glasses back on. So both sides have been tinned. Should make it easier. Tweezers always make it easier. Red is on the left, viewed, and yes, this is backward for you guys. This is my left side. Solder is magic. Good old Omnifixo. Grab a hold. See if I can coax this board over to this lead. Well, and the instructions. Solder the back contacts. Mine kind of look like that. So, we're going to have to push this in. A little finger crossing. Won't hurt. And he recommends some crazy glue. I seem to remember I did that last time. Actually, this board is a little too big for this space. I guess I should have checked that sooner. But I'll fix that. That's a minor thing in the scheme of things. So this board, I should show you, is a little larger than the space it's supposed to go into. But that'll be all right for right now. I'll fix that off camera. All right. Correct battery polarity. Note the middle line reading the amount is negative. So